Duquesne University Coaches Show, presented by UPMC and UPMC Health Plan, the official healthcare provider and health plan of the Duquesne Dukes. It's time for the Sherwin-Williams Painting the Picture of Victory segment. Sherwin-Williams is the official paint provider of Duquesne Athletics. The Duquesne Dukes will take on Boston College in a second straight FBS matchup to open up the season. Duquesne began its season last Thursday night at Toledo, falling 49-10. The Dukes scored on consecutive drives in the second quarter, making the score 14-7 and 21-10, but could not keep up with the explosive Toledo offense. The Eagles are coming off a 28-13 win over number 10 Florida State on Monday night. Bill O'Brien leads BC in his first season as head coach. Duquesne will be up against another high-powered offense this week. Boston College outgained Florida State 369 yards to 293 and held the ball for more than 39 minutes in their season-opening win. Darius Parentes and transfer tight end Noah Canty connected for Duquesne's first touchdown of the 2024 campaign, and John Irby led the way for the Dukes with 7 catches as 8 players recorded a reception for Duquesne. Parentes, who was named to the Walter Payton Award watch list, led all of Division I football in yards per completion in 2024 and connected on 3 passes of 15-plus yards in the season opener. Look for the Dukes to continue to test the deep ball again against the Eagles' defense, which allowed 272 passing yards in Week 1. Duquesne and Boston College kick off at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus and ACC Network Extra. The game can also be heard live on Fox Sports Pittsburgh and the iHeartRadio app. That was the Sherwin-Williams Painting the Picture of Victory segment. Sherwin-Williams, the official paint provider of Duquesne Athletics.
I was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer and told you should seek end-of-life care. I went to UPMC, and so the very first time, I didn't get that blank stare. He said, "This is what we do, saving lives like mine."
For all your sports watching needs and great food, meet me at Mike's. Mike's Beer Bar was voted best sports bar in Pittsburgh. 300 local beers, 80 local taps, over 500 beers, and steak on a stone. Mike's Beer Bar next to PNC Park, Federal Street, North Shore.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. For all the moments you want a beer and need to stay on your game. Budweiser Zero. Zero compromise.
And welcome back to the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show with Jerry Schmitt, brought to you by UPMC and the UPMC Health Plan, the official health plan of the Duquesne Dukes. Tim Benz along with you. Coach Jerry Schmitt, brought to us by Cordia, creating energy solutions. And Jerry, you take on Toledo in Week 1. 49-10 is what it is on paper, but that's always a challenge when you play up to an FBS school, and not just an FBS school, a school from the MAC that was a division champion in that conference last year, played for the conference championship, predicted to finish no worse than second in that conference. How do you think your team handled itself playing up in class like that?
Toledo's a great football program, has been for a long time. Like us, they're consistently at the top of their conference competing for a championship. So, it was 2 top conference type teams. Obviously, the MAC conference is a great conference in this NCAA FBS division, and so we knew what we were going into. Great atmosphere, great venue. You have to play almost mistake-free football in games like that, and we did not do that. put ourselves in some tough situations. A lot of positive things come out of it. Our kids competed hard for the entire game. So we'll take what we learned from that and just move forward.
One thing I was wondering about is the tempo with which Toledo played on offense, the number of snaps they had, the pace that they had getting back to the line of scrimmage. How do you think your defense handled that?
Well, we knew that was going to happen. Obviously, depth comes into the issue there, and we try to rotate as many guys as we can. If you watch, they were rotating their defensive guys, especially their defensive front, throughout the game. So we had to try to match that and play at that high level with all of the guys. So it wore us down a little bit. But I think we settled in. It's the first game. It's just a challenge getting used to that first game pace, competing at that level. You can't simulate it in practice. So once our guys got our legs under us, I thought we handled it pretty well.
How did you feel Darius played at quarterback, Darius Parentis?
He did some really good things. Threw some really good balls. Unfortunate that we were in a tough field position situation at times. I think he could have helped us convert better in the red zone a couple times, but it wasn't just him; it's the whole team. So for his first game this senior year, I thought he did some really good things.
You and I talked about it because he used this phrase. He brought it up to me this way. He said one thing he wanted to be better at this year was to crack down on some of the goofy turnovers. Like sometimes you're going to make a turnover trying to make a play for the team.
Yep.
I don't know how you would sort of diagnose the interception that he threw towards the end of the first half. Does that fall into that category? Or I would think in general, actually, the turnovers that you had were more ill-timed than they were ill-advised, per se.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I thought he played a really good game. He played a smart football game, considering the situation. Put us in a situation there in the second quarter to be competing, and had we not turned the ball over there, with 4 minutes left to go in the half, we had a chance to move the football. If we could move the football and put some points on the board, we were within striking range going in at halftime. And he's part of that turnover because it was, an exchange between him and the tailback. So it's not good. We've got to get better at that. But I thought he played a pretty smart football game.
Regarding his connection with Irby, that's the first time we've seen him. It seemed like there was something there that, I don't know if it dates all the way back to Rhode Island or what, but there seems to be something there between those two.
Yeah, I think they were friends. From what I understand, Irby hosted him when he visited Rhode Island, and I'm sure they developed a friendship and a connection and renewed that when he got back here on campus. It's good to see. It's nice to see. John acclimated himself to this football team right away, regardless of his relationship with Darius. He's just such a nice young man and such a hard worker. So he fit right into what we do here and the rest of our guys do, as evidenced by the fact that he was voted captain in his first season here.
There's some late changes along the offensive line. Vince Lumia, who had transferred back, decided to move on with his career outside of football in the later stages of the week leading into the game against Toledo. How did you find that the offensive line adjusted in that regard?
I thought they did a good job. Coach Selnoff plays a lot of those guys and emphasizes position flex. So those guys can play a number of positions on that offensive line, and they've been practicing that all camp, and so different combinations. So the guys adapted really well. Tommy Brandt went in and started at the right guard position, but he's played some different spots. We had some other guys getting some reps and getting some snaps, developing some depth there. So I thought they did a good job. We ran the ball at times effectively. I thought the protection was really good for the level that we were playing at, and some of the things they did schematically. We picked up some really good, some blitzes and gave us a chance to get the ball down the field.
Taj Butts had a pretty good game for the amount of carries that he had, but also got hurt along the way. What did you see from him in the first game, and what's his status going into Boston College and moving forward?
Well, he's a talented young man. We've talked about that before. He's got great vision. He's got a aura about him that he doesn't worry about the big lights and the big games, and he just plays good football all the time, plays the same all the time, and does a really good job. And I expected that out of him. We're going to miss him here. I think he's going to be out for a little bit. We'll see what the doctors say and how fast we can get him back. But Jamario's ready to take over the lead role there, and Sean Solomon will step in and be his backup and get some carries for us.
Yeah, we saw some of Solomon before the end of the Toledo game. What do you like about him?
He's a young guy that's worked really hard last year to learn the system. He's got a unique way to run the football, and his effort's outstanding. He's on some special teams. He made some great efforts, made a tackle on punt. He was getting blocked all over the field and made a second effort. Really does well in pass blocking. Happy for him. He's getting the opportunity. Looking forward to seeing him playing more reps.
Your new tight end, No Candy, 1 catch, 1 touchdown. Could we perhaps see more of him in the passing game as the season moves along?
Certainly hope so. I think that's going to be a big part of it. Stephen Mahar is another target there that I think Darius is working more with in practice, so that'll just add to the game with the receivers we have. That should add to our passing game.
When we were talking about Toledo's tempo on offense, more big picture with the defense, what stood out to you positively? Was there anything that jumped out at you that you liked per se during the course of the 60 minutes, and was there anything that you wish you could have corrected more quickly against the Rockets?
Well, I know this. When I put the tape on and I watch every play, I see what happens towards the finish of the play, and we've got a lot of hats getting to the football. They're pursuing in the right lanes. First game, it's tough to simulate live tackling, on a consistent basis through camp, and that speed. So tackling is a thing that we want to improve on each and every week, and I think that was a big part of it. We get some guys down, we give ourselves a better chance. They've got to take more snaps. So I think that's an area of improvement that we'll work on here and hopefully get better at.
Lowry and Howard, those two guys, I know they were dinged up along the way. Are they kind of in the category of Taj Butts where it's going to be a little while before we see them again?
Yeah, we've got to get those guys healed up and see what the doctors say and see when we can get them back.
Back to what you saw on the offensive line, specifically with Cam McLaurin, who's going to be our guest here after we wrap up. How has he stepped up this year, and what's he like as a player and the time that you've gotten to know him?
Well, Cam's another guy that has endeared himself to this football team, one of the hardest working guys on our team, and thus I'm not the only one that recognizes that. The team voted him a team captain this year, and it was well-deserved. He's been working extremely hard. Working basically behind. He can play different positions, but he's worked behind Mike Durando, and he stepped into that role, took over this camp, and did a really good job. Communication is huge, and he does a really good job with those offensive linemen, making the calls where they have to go, putting them in the right places, and being his first really college start here, or being the key starter at center. I think he did a really good job.
Boston College coming up on Saturday, another big opportunity for you guys on a national stage against an ACC opponent. What do you think about going into Chestnut Hill?
Well, we're looking forward to it, especially after the game they had this week. They made national news with their big win. Congratulations to them going on the road. We've been down there at Florida State. That's a tough place to play, so we're looking forward to playing a team like that in a great, historic venue up there.
Notice they like to use the running backs a lot on offense in the pass game. It certainly looks like they try to dovetail that with their quarterback skill set. Did that leap off the screen to you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Our defensive staff is prepared for that stuff.
And Castellanos, he's not real big. He's got a little Kyler Murray in him, doesn't he, in terms of his size, his shape, the way he approaches the game?
Really good athlete. Really good football player. I'm excited to see him, and I know our guys are excited to defend against him.
Bill O'Brien, did you know him very well when he was at Penn State? Did you get to know him at all?
I did not. Always have watched his career and the great things that he's done. Admired some of the things, being an offensive guy myself. So studied some of the things that he has done over the years. So looking forward to meeting him and competing against him.
Some of the things that Tim Lewis, former Steelers defensive coordinator, is doing at Boston College look familiar? You see some of that Steeler imprint and the things he's approaching?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did get to meet Tim when he was over there with the Steelers. So great guy. Looking forward to meeting those guys. Well,
Jerry, thanks a bunch for doing this. Appreciate it. Best of luck at Boston College. I know this has become a tradition here in recent years, you guys playing up and now going up against an ACC school. I think it's going to be a fun weekend for everybody involved. I know you've got a lot of alumni, you've got a lot of donors and things like that going out for this trip. It should be a good time for everybody to have Duquesne on a stage like that against Boston College.
Absolutely. We'll enjoy it. We'll go play Duke's football and play it the way we know how to play it.
All right. Thanks, Jared. Jerry Schmitt, head coach of the Duquesne Dukes, with us here on the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show. Again, brought to us by Cordia. Cordia, creating energy solutions. Cam McLaurin next when we come back as the Coaches Show rolls on. Brought to you by UPMC and the UPMC Health Plan, the official healthcare provider of Duquesne Athletics.
At Cordia, we approach energy from a different point of view, asking what's next instead of what now, perfecting solutions long before they are needed. Our team pushes boundaries, asks tough questions, and explores every possibility. We drive innovation so the energy you rely on today paves the way to a more sustainable tomorrow. Cordia, creating energy solutions.
The reason we do this is to change the lives of patients for the better. Pancreatic cancer has a reputation for being a tough cancer to deal with. If you can add mileage to someone's life, the ability for patients to live longer, enjoy time with their family, witness a wedding of a daughter or a son, that's really what we're aiming for.
At Duquesne, it's our joy to help you discover what you're good at and why that's good for the world. We want you to become a problem solver who thinks bigger, who is driven by compassion and empathy. Together, we will work towards achieving your goals and a greater sense of purpose. We're ready with an education that's everything you need and more than you imagined. It's time for bigger goals. Duquesne University.
And welcome back to the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show, brought to you by UPMC and the UPMC Health Plan. Pleased to be joined right now by Cameron McLaurin, Center for the Duquesne Dukes, brought to us by Summit Academy and the Academy Schools, inspiring hope through education and treatment. Cam, thanks a lot for taking some time to join us.
Glad to be here.
We were talking before we started rolling here about your relationship with Mike Durando, who had the center position prior to you. How close were you guys, and how much did you learn from Mike in your time before he took over as the starter here this season at that spot?
Mike was a huge mentor for me. He really did a lot, kind of showed me the ropes. I didn't play center much before I got here, so he kind of, a little bit of a learning curve. He really helped me out getting adjusted, learning the playbook, kind of how do you get up there and command the guys and kind of make the calls, make sure everyone's going where they have to go. And outside of football, he's been just a great friend, great mentor. Couldn't thank him enough, really. He's a great guy.
How did he help you learn those specifics? What were the things that he communicated to you about how important it is to communicate to the line in the moment, in the heat of battle, so to speak?
I mean, you really learn from watching him. So practice every day, watching him play in the meeting room every day, seeing how he talks to coach, how he breaks down film, how he goes about his day, treats it like a pro. So just watching to really learn.
When you came from Montour, where were you playing for the most part, high school, and what was your projection for where you thought you would play here with the Dukes?
I was a guard and tackle out of high school, and that's what I thought I was going to play here. I thought I was going to play guard, but then kind of, came in, hey, can you snap? I want to see you at center. Next thing you know, here I am.
Could you staff?
No, not in high school. If you ask my high school coach, we had some problems with snapping in high school, but that's another thing Mike helped me out with a lot, so we got it right.
What was the technique? What was sort of the mental hang-up about the snap that you eventually got over?
I treat it like a golf swing, the same motion every time. You got to get rhythmic. You got to get in that kind of feel zone where you're just kind of snapping it and playing every time and not thinking about it. If you're thinking about it, you might have some troubles. You kind of just got to go out there and snap it.
By the time you got to camp this year, was that second nature, or was that still something you were getting over as camp began this season?
I would say it was second nature, yeah.
Yeah?
Used to it by that point.
What about the rest of the offensive line, how it's coalesced? I know there's a lot of familiar faces that are like you, sort of graduating to starting status. There are some guys who are back from last year who are starters. Yep. How has the line coalesced so far this year?
We're a really tight-knit group of guys. We call ourselves the Pack. We pride ourselves on it a lot. We spend a lot of time together. We hang out a lot. Really close group. That's all I got to say about us.
I'll throw the Mike Tomlinism at you then, since you used it in that phrase. You used the phrase pack. Tomlin is always fond of saying the strength of the pack is the pack. So do you find that the grouping of the five of you is maybe a higher quantifiable trait than what you all are individually? Like the group of you collectively, is that better than each of you individually?
I would say it goes to all 16 of us. You know, the guys going out there doing scout, the guys that, you know, the second team guys, we're all one, we're all working together, we're all trying to get better, and I think we all find strength in each other every week.
You also had two pretty good blocking tight ends that were here last year in Easterling and Logan Lutz.
Yep.
And now you've got Noah Canty, who's on board, formerly of Stonehill, caught a touchdown pass last week against Toledo, and Mahar from Syracuse, who transferred in. How have they woven their way into the offensive line and the blocking aspects of what you want to do?
I mean, Coach Hunt has worked with them a lot to get them up to speed. I think they fit right in. They had a little growing pain at the beginning of camp. You know, offense kind of relies on tight end blocking a lot, especially ours. So I think they've got there now.
Taj Butts, the running back that we talked about with Coach Jerry Schmitt, he's obviously a top-level athlete, came in from Missouri. I know you guys are going to lean into him a lot this year. An early injury, how do you get over that? And can Jamario take over with Taj being down?
It's tough losing a guy like that. Taj runs real hard. We love having him back there. But, you know, Jamario's right up there with him. Jamario runs hard. He's ready to go. I mean, he's been here for as long as I have. You know, we've got guys still.
As a group of five, as a pack, how do you think you guys performed against Toledo, given the understanding that you're playing in FBS school that's highly rated in the MAC?
You know, I thought we competed. I thought we played hard. We played through the whistle every play, and that's all you can ask out of your guys. You know, out there playing as one. That's all you can ask for.
What do you think of what you saw from Boston College? I know you watched the game against Florida State. That's a nationally ranked team. They go down there. They've got a new coaching staff, some familiar names, familiar faces. We were talking about them with Coach Schmitt. Bill O'Brien, former Penn State coach, offensive coordinator with the Patriots. Tim Lewis was the defensive coordinator here with the Steelers. What did you think of what you saw from how they performed against the Seminoles?
I thought they played a good game. They played tough. They played 4 quarters of football, which is, you know, that's what we strive to do as well. I mean, they look good up front. They won the game in the trenches. You can see that by the stats. But I think we're excited to go down there and compete.
One thing I noticed about them is, and I think the stats of third down, if I want to say Florida State was something like 1 of 9 on third downs. They had a couple of big plays on fourth downs as well defensively. They got pretty deceptive, it looked like, and brought people from different angles and different locations on third downs. How do you prepare for that this week?
You know, I mean, every week we take a look at the pressure tape and, you know, how are they simulating pressure, where are they bringing guys, what looks do they bring guys out of, and, you know, we really hammer down, all right, here's our pressure looks, here's our checks, here's what we're going to do this week, and, you know, it all starts up front with us in communication and just like, hey, here's the protection, here's what we're doing, and if we do got that, we got a chance.
Like you, Darius Prentice has been around the program for a long time now. He's your quarterback. What's your relationship like with him, and how do you think he handled himself against Toledo?
I think he handled himself pretty well. You know, he doesn't get shucken by the lights. He's locked in. He knows what he's got to do. I think he went out there, competed. I think we're going to see a lot more out of him this year. I'm excited for it.
All right, well, listen, Cam, thanks a lot for the time. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. And happy to see you continue your football career here in Pittsburgh at Duquesne. That must be fun for your family to be able to come see you play all the time.
Yeah, they get to see a lot of games, so that's good.
They going out to Boston?
Yes.
I think it's going to be a great atmosphere with a lot of other Duquesne family and alumni. Should be a good rooting contingent out there for you guys against the Eagles.
So.
Thanks to Cameron McLaurin, Center for the Duquesne Dukes, getting brought to us by Summit Academy and the Academy Schools. When we come back, behind the numbers as we roll on here, the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show.
Hey, grab me one too.
Science doesn't happen in a silo. More and more, we need to have expertise from lots of different fields. And so that's one of the amazing things here at Hillman. Everyone here is committed to doing research that is going to ultimately help patients' lives. So bringing together lots of different smart minds that have a common mission is really the way that we're going to move forward.
It's time to look behind the numbers, courtesy of the accounting and consulting firm Schneider Downs. Find out how big thinking with a personal focus can help your organization. Boston College is the 11th FBS opponent in program history for Duquesne. It is the second time that the Dukes are opening the season against consecutive FBS teams, with 2021 being the only other time and the fifth time since 2018 that two FBS teams are on the schedule. In the 2024 season opener, graduate transfer John Irby made a career-high 7 catches in his first game back with former teammate Darius Parentes. Parentes and Irby were teammates at Rhode Island in 2019 and are back together this season, both playing in their final year of eligibility. With Parentes' touchdown pass at Toledo, he is now 2 touchdowns away from 5th all-time at Duquesne in career touchdown passes with 45. Dave Loya, who quarterbacked the Dukes from 1994 to 97, is currently 5th with 47 touchdown passes. Also inching near a top spot in the record books is place kicker Brian Brudgewitz. Brudgewitz made a 22-yard field goal at Toledo, his 32nd career field goal, which ranks him 3rd all-time at Duquesne. Mark Troyan, who kicked for the Dukes from 2005 to 2008, is 2nd with 39 career field goals. Duquesne has been picked to repeat as Northeast Conference champions in the league's preseason coaches poll, and 6 Dukes were named to the preseason All-NEC team. This marks the 14th straight season that the Dukes have been ranked in the top 3, with at least one first-place vote in 13 of the last 14 preseason polls. Conference play will begin October 5th as Duquesne hosts LIU at Rooney Field during homecoming and family weekend. That was a look behind the numbers, courtesy of the accounting and consulting firm Schneider Downs. Find out how big thinking with a personal focus can help your organization. On Saturday, September 7th, Duquesne will take on Boston College at Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Kickoff is scheduled for 3:30 p.m. Visit GoDuquesne.com for more game day information and a full 2024 schedule. The road ahead is brought to you by Dean Honda. Dean Honda. Visit them on Route 51 in Pleasant Hills or at DeanHonda.com.